This is the new ambassador to Israel, Mike Huckabee, proposed by President-elect Donald Trump. And I want to show you a clip of him speaking just now on his TV show. And, well, I'll just let his words speak for itself, where he explains why Israel is so dear to his heart.
Of this week, I'm working away, my dog's at my side, when my phone rings. Now, I didn't recognize the number, but I just somehow felt I ought to answer this call. I had no idea that that call was about to turn my life upside down. Because on the other end of the line was President Trump. Now, if you've ever been around him, you know he is not one to engage in a lot of small talk, and he got right down to business. He said, Mike, I want you to be ambassador to Israel. You know the country. You know the people and the Middle East, and I want you to be there. Now, I have not lobbied or asked him for the job. Others suggested it, and I guess he thought it was the right thing. I really didn't have time to think about all that it would do to change my life. But it was the only appointment that I would have really had an interest in. And not because I needed a job. Folks, I got a bunch of jobs already. One of them is hosting this show. Another one is hosting The Daily Show here on TBN, Monday through Friday. I serve on several corporate and nonprofit boards. I own a travel company, several radio stations. I travel constantly to make speeches. I have consulting in business enterprises in 3 countries, publish a daily newsletter, and I write books. I got plenty to do. And by the way, I'm going to have to take a dramatic pay cut to do this job. But it was not about getting a title or a federal paycheck. It was about the opportunity to play a strategic role in the safety and security of Israel and for the Jewish people, and hoping to expand President Trump's historic Abraham Accords that he got passed in his first term, and hopefully securing a lasting stability and peace for the Middle East. It's deeply personal to me. My first trip to Israel was in July of 1973. I was 17, a month away from my 18th birthday. It was less than 3 months from what we would come to know as the Yom Kippur War, although I had no idea that was about to happen. 1981, I started taking groups of people to Israel. And over the years, I have personally taken tens of thousands of people to visit the land of the Bible. I honestly have lost track of how many times I've been there, but the number either is approaching or exceeding 100 trips. I've been from Dan to Beersheba. I've known Prime Minister Netanyahu for 30 years. I know many of the cabinet members and members of the Knesset. I have deep convictions about the underlying challenges that are faced by this tiny land, which is the size of New Jersey, surrounded by mortal enemies. I've been there in times of great peace and in times of war, times of uprisings. Because I unapologetically believe the Bible, I take seriously Genesis 12 that reminds us that God will bless those who bless Israel and curse those who curse Israel. I have long believed that the conflicts of the Middle East are not really geopolitical, economic, or social, but rather spiritual. And after October the 7th and the horrific anti-Semitic attacks on our Jewish friends, I become more determined than ever to stand with Israel and the Jewish people as they are targeted for attacks and annihilation. Now, I know you probably have many questions. I sure do. I get asked, are you going to have to leave the show? Are you going to have to live in Israel? And when will all this happen? And many more questions. And the honest answer to all of them is, I don't know. For Janet and me, this is a journey of pure faith. I have no idea if the Senate will confirm me, although with Republicans in clear control, that should happen. After that, I'd be required to move to Israel and begin my service to my country and to my president. I tell you what, I'm starting a path that I've never been on before. But you will be traveling that path with me for the next several weeks. But I do ask that you pray not just for Janet and me, but more importantly, that you pray for the peace of Jerusalem. But I'll tell you this, one thing is certain. I may never pick up the phone again from a number I don't recognize.
Wow, wow, wow. That's truly amazing. And I'm just checking, but I'm pretty sure we recently did a video about Mike Huckabee. Yeah, we did. So I'll put that in the video description so you can see a bit more about who he is and why he has the beliefs that he does. He is, I'll tell you why it's quite special to see this. In the past, people that, were American politicians or ambassadors or whatever, that supported Israel, typically, even if they were deeply pro-Israel, their reasons for being so would be based on shared Western values, shared democratic values, thinking, we're good security allies, we're partners, we're friends, all those things. But this is different. Mike Huckabee quotes Genesis. He quotes the line, "I will bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you." For him, Mike Huckabee understands that support for Israel, as he said, is not just about shared interests or politics or social issues or economic issues or intelligence or security. It's spiritual. And he's right. And it's amazing to hear him say this, because in some ways he has more confidence in saying this than people who are inside of Israel. And that might partly be because of simply just a lack of confidence or awareness or whatever it is. But ultimately, the language that he's using is actually the only one that's going to fly in the Middle East. The only thing that's going to convince a God-centric Middle East region, the only thing that will persuade them that the Jewish people's right to this land and to be there is just, is if they believe this is the will of God, will of Allah. And trying to talk about international law and democracy and cherry tomatoes and ways and all those things, lovely, but doesn't get to the nub of it. The other thing they respect is strength, and of course strength is important, essential in the Middle East. But we're talking about resolving this conflict. As he said, he knows that ultimately this is a spiritual conflict, and therefore only a spiritual solution will solve it. If they believe, if Israel's enemies believe in the region that they're fighting a religious war, this is the will of God, they need to somehow be convinced that this is not the will of God. To be anti-Israel is to be ungodly. That's the only way we solve this, and so that's why I'm a big believer. That while we need to have the legal action, the political action, the military action, all those things, education, and talking about who the Jewish people really are, talking about what our divine mission is, that has to be the root of all of this. And that's why I do what I do. And that's ultimately the solution to all of this. So we need to have confidence, like our non-Jewish friends do, like Mike Huckabee does. Have confidence in the truth of our cause, and understand that this is the only way that things are going to be settled. Even if you don't want to take a spiritual divine approach, just as a matter of fact, the Middle East is a God-centric religious region. And so this is the language that they speak in. And it seems obvious to me that's what we have to reflect back. They know it anyway. That's the truth. They know it's true. Most of their ideas in the Middle East and most of the world's religion and belief system come from the ideas first brought to the world by the Jewish people from Mount Sinai. They're just waiting for our confirmation that that's really who we are. So let's give it to them. Otherwise, our enemies will stick more to conspiracy theory roots and making up all other things. They know there's something different about us. So why don't we just tell them the truth? Because the truth is actually nothing to be afraid of. It's very positive indeed. If you've made it so far in this video, I have a request for you. JTV has been having a really big impact in spreading the truth about Israel and creating positive associations with the Jewish people, Judaism, and Israel. We've really grown a lot, particularly in the last year, and we're having a really significant impact, both for Jews and non-Jews. But I really want to take JTV to the next level so we can start to compete with the other big online media beasts that are often peddling anti-Israel content. And the way we're going to do that is to scale even faster. So I'd love to build a team where we have other presenters doing shows like me. Let's start doing documentaries, supplementary content, animated content, etc., etc. And to do that, I'd like to build a bit of a team. So what we're going to do is we're going to do one fundraising day, just one, where we try and build up some funding in order to fund such a team. Now, to do that, it's going to obviously require people to get involved. And I'm wondering if you would consider, if you're watching JTV content and appreciate what we do and want to help partner with us in taking this to the next level and spreading the truth farther and wider than ever before, I wonder if you'd consider partnering with us simply by running a mini page on the fundraiser that we do, where you just reach out to your contacts on that day that we choose to fundraise and see if they'll all chip in. If you'd be up for doing that, of which I would be so grateful, then please click on the Google form link in the video description of this video, where you can simply just put in a few contact details. It'll be a very small commitment, as I say, literally just one day that we'll all agree upon as a collective community. But the impact is going to be so big. There's such strength in numbers. If we all pull together and do this, we can take this to the next level. And as I say, all of us can partner together in bringing and spreading the truth to the whole world. So please do consider clicking on that link, filling in the form, and I'll be in touch very soon to talk about the next steps. Small commitment, but a big impact. Hi, thank you so much for watching. To watch another one, click here. To stay up to date with all our content, click here to subscribe. And if you're able to, you can help support JTV to grow and grow by clicking join below this video, where you can become a member and get perks including early access to videos and private live discussions with me. But most of all, you'll be partnering with us on our mission to change the world.